fairbutfirm.com. Joe Cortez here, former referee, but now I'm calling the shots from outside the ring from a referee's perspective. And I'm thinking more like a fan a little bit now that I'm not in the ring, because before, when I was a referee, I had to think like an official. But now I can talk to you a little bit more about what's going on in boxing. And talking about what's going on in boxing, this past weekend, Matthysse, wow. Matthysse really showed what a champion he is. And I mean, fighting a fighter like Lamont Peterson, who's a top-notch contender. I mean, they thought they're going to have a tough night with Lamont Peterson. I think this is one of the easiest nights for Matthysse, because they were looking for the right hand, and Matthysse surprised him with the left. Let's say if the right hand don't get you, the left one will. Well, that night, that's just what he did. He put Matthysse put down Peterson down 3 times in 3 rounds. The referee had to stop the fight. I mean, Lamont Peterson got clipped with some punches. He got one shot, which I was so surprised, he caught him on the forehead. And that was the first punch that he went down. Then the last knockdown, they both simultaneously, they threw left hooks, and Matthysse got the better of it. The referee rightfully so stopped the contest. Then we go back over into Russia. You have Alexander Povetkin won on a 3-round knockout over Andrew Vervosky. And Vervosky is not a well-known fighter in the heavyweight division, but it was like a two-up fight for Povetkin, and he better need a good two-up fight, because he's going to fight none other than Wladimir Klitschko, and that's going to be taking place in October. Then we go down to south of the border. We had Shane Mosley, 41 years old. Man, did he come back from the dead. They thought he was finished. Well, you know what? He's far from being finished. He fought none other than Pablo Cesar Cano and won the unanimous 12-round decision. It was a tough fight for Mosley, but it was very interesting for the fans. It was maybe one of the best fights in the whole weekend, because, I mean, it was 12 rounds. But Matthysse was the outstanding one with the surprise knockout victory over Lamont Peterson. Coming up next week, you have Mikhail Kessler fighting Carl Froch. And that's going to be a great fight. It's a rematch. The first fight, Froch won the fight on a unanimous decision. It was a very tough fight. Kessler got a very nasty cut, but you'll see a great fight on the rematch this coming Saturday. So that's a little bit about what happened this past weekend and what's coming up next weekend. But let me tell you a little bit about scoring the fights and refereeing fights. Is something that, again, people are wondering, is the system going to stay the same with the scoring 10-point must system? They want to go back sometimes to maybe calling it a different scoring system. Back in the old days, they had a round system. You won a round, that was it. You round one, it was 5 rounds to 1 and 4 to the other, maybe 1 even. Well, you know, that's okay, but you know, when you start taking the point deductions and you start with the knockdown, 1 knockdown, 2 knockdown, it simplified it more for the fans and for the judges. So I think that, so anybody talking about changing the scoring system, that's not going to happen. I think the 10-point must system, the mandatory 10-point, is good. I think that'll stay in place. And talking about changing systems in boxing, the amateurs are picking up on what we're doing in the pros with the 10-point must system. And so that's a little positive thing for boxing in the amateurs, because in the amateurs a little kind of confusion where they had the 5 judges. In amateurs you have 5 judges, in the pros you have only 3. But the amateurs, they had a little machine where if the punches were connected, you would try to count punches, and if 3 of the 5 were unanimous, then they'll go with that stat. I didn't like it, very complicated, and maybe the fighters got cheated out of a certain punch because the judges didn't press the button at the right time. So I think that's history. I think the new system in the amateurs is great. So let's see what happens there. Referees, again, referees are doing a great job in boxing. You're always going to have a little flaw here and there, but you know what? Nobody's perfect. You know, sometimes a referee cannot be at 2 different angles at the same time. So there are some points that he's going to miss. Some punches are going to be missed because of the angle. We as fans, now watch it on television. We have the luxury of watching it on instant replay, on 4 or 5 different angles. The cameras are great for the viewers at home. Unfortunately, the judges miss a lot because of the position that they're sitting at ringside. Again, if you go with my theory of raising the seats on the judges a little bit higher, I think that they will get a better view and miss less punches. Boxing is on the way up again. Like I said, we've had some great fights in the last 6-7 months. There's a bunch of good fights coming up in the near future. So you can see on the horizon, boxing is coming up with great fights. The fans are going to be for good treats before the end of the year. You're going to see some outstanding fights. I think that the fight of the year yet has not come yet. But you know, you got Mayweather fighting, you got Canelo Alvarez, you got Klitschko, and you got so many Danny Garcia, and you got now Matthysse. So many young up-and-coming fighters. Are they at the level where we had Sugar Ray Leonard, Marvin Hagler, Tommy Hearns, Roberto Duran, you know, Mike Tyson? Not at that level yet, but you know, they're very close. They're coming up close, and that's what boxing needs. And now what we have to continue to do is continue to train the trainers so we can develop good young talent out there, so we can hopefully in the next Olympics get a couple of gold medals and develop new future champions. With that said, guys, we'll talk to you next week.